What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got a new highly damaging report being revealed here about former President Donald Trump and his would-be attacker here with the new assassination attempt. I'll give you the details here on that. Also, police have in custody a Pakistani national with ties to Iran that is in custody and arrested here. I'll give you the details here on that, with under arrest for the attempted murder of former President Donald Trump and other officials. Give you the details here on that as well. And we'll hear from former United States military general on the potentials for attacks that we are under here right now. We got a lot to go over here right now in this video. We are live right now on YouTube. So if you can see and hear me, type yes in the chat. And if you want to, let me know where you're tuning in from. We have people tuning in here from all over the world. Type your city, your state, or even your country where you're tuning in from. Also, thanks so much for hitting that like button. If you appreciate these videos, it helps YouTube let you know, let our viewers know that you like these videos, and it will push this video out to even more people so that they can hear this information. All right, here we go. Check this out. We got this new highly damaging report and information now being released. Take a listen to some of this information here with Republican Senator Josh Hawley tuning in here. Take a listen here.
On this topic of the Secret Service, I want to bring in Republican Senator Josh Hawley from the Hill. And Senator, thank you for your time today. Roll the video of the president yesterday, guys. What he was saying on the South Lawn is that I want to make clear the Secret Service needs more help, and I think Congress should respond to their need. Look, there's a battle over money. There's a battle over resources. There's a battle over management. Where do you come down on this? If it's number one, number two, or number three, or all three above?
Well, it's probably all three, but Bill, listen, management leadership is absolutely vital here. Yesterday, I released a whistleblower report, comprehensive report of all of the whistleblower information that has come to my office since July. Bill, it's a lot. We have had multiple whistleblowers from within the Secret Service tell us that what happened at Butler should never have happened. The Secret Service was not prepared. They did not follow their own protocols. And I have to say, looking at what happened over the weekend, I have the same set of questions. Why wasn't the perimeter of that golf course swept? Why did agents not find a guy who was there for 12 hours before he started pointing a rifle at the former president of the United States? I mean, clearly, we've got some issues here with the Secret Service, and I think it begins at the top.
Okay, two things here. Here's the acting Secret Service Director, Ronald Rowe. Just yesterday, he was asked a very specific question that you just described there. Watch here.
How many times did your agents go around the perimeter and scope out the golf course during the 12 hours that this guy was holed up in the shrubbery?
So this was an off-the-record movement. It wasn't a site that was on his scheduled, it wasn't part of his schedule. So there was no posting up of it because he wasn't supposed to have gone there in the first place.
And what do you think on the face of that answer? Maybe there's an explanation, maybe there's not. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, what he means to say is zero. But the answer there is 0 times. They didn't do a protective sweep. And when he says that it was off the record, it just means it wasn't publicly available. Listen, I mean, Donald Trump plays golf frequently. He has been to this course frequently. It adjoins his residence. It's not as if they parachuted him in somewhere where they'd never been before. Clearly, the shooter, the would-be assassin, thought he might well be there, and he was able to camp out for 12 hours and have nobody come up to him. I have to tell you, Bill, this is a lot like Crooks, the other assassin back in Butler, who was able to get on that roof, able to take a line of sight and ultimately take shots, and nobody did anything until he started shooting the president. I mean, really, this is totally unacceptable, and Secret Service has got to provide some answers.
Okay, so, and one of these reports, I just want to read this for our audience, ask you a very specific question. The resulting findings are highly damaging to the credibility of the Secret Service and DHS, Department of Homeland Security. They reveal a compounding pattern of negligence, sloppiness, and gross incompetence that goes back years, all of which culminated in an assassination attempt that came inches from succeeding. That's referring to Butler 2 months ago. What do you mean it goes back years? Define that for our audience here.
What whistleblowers have told me, Bill, is that over a series of years, Secret Service leadership has steadily reduced the number of agents available in the field. They are now having to rely more on Homeland Security agents who are not trained. One of the whistleblower revelations is that most of the agents in Butler that day in July were not Secret Service, and they weren't trained. They had never done protective work before. Their only training was a webinar, a Zoom call. It's this pattern that is so troubling. And I think what we're finding is Secret Service just doesn't appear to be prepared to do their job. And the fact that both Secret Service and DHS are slow walking, if not stonewalling, congressional investigations is totally unacceptable and raises a whole bunch more questions.
What's your solution?
Well, the solution is there needs to be accountability at the top. As I asked Director Rowe under oath almost 2 months ago, who have you fired? Who is being held accountable for what happened in Butler? And we're going to have the same set of questions for what happened over the weekend. We need to see real accountability, Bill, number one. Number two, we need to see changes in protocols. This needs to happen immediately. They can't keep doing the same thing over and over.
Okay, Senator, we'll see whether or not you make success on this, or progress, I should say.
Yeah, so some absolute absurdity there. They didn't even sweep the golf course ahead of time. Absolute, just especially with what just happened with the first attempt on former President Donald Trump's life. And now you would think that they would be on heightened security alert. They're not even checking ahead of time. They really only checked the hole ahead just moments before he got there. And now you're hearing from the senator there that some of these agents have almost no training and are only being briefed by a Zoom webinar. That's basically like saying they watched one YouTube video on Secret Service training and then, all right, you're good to go out in the field. That is mind blowing to say that you're protecting a former president, a presidential candidate of this nature. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's former President Donald Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris, President Biden, any former president of that magnitude is absolutely mind-blowing and absurd, especially because he just had a very, very, very significant attempt on his life, which came within millimeters. Within millimeters. This is unacceptable. And also, you got to think here that, Democratic candidates like Kamala Harris and current President Biden are also, you would think, under significant risk just because of what is happening to Trump and the heightened security and issues now. In fact, take a look at what was just posted here. Elon Musk, one of the world's richest men at some point in time, some days he is the richest man in the world, and Trump supporter, says U.S. Secret Service says it is aware of Elon Musk's post about Biden and Harris. Here's what he says here. CEO of SpaceX and Tesla, and owner of X, formerly known as Twitter. The U.S. Secret Service says on Monday it is aware of a post by billionaire Elon Musk on X, social media platform formerly known as Twitter, about an absence of assassination attempts on President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, which is wild that he would post that publicly on X for billions of people to see. And the Secret Service had to respond. He was criticized by X users from the left and the right who said they were concerned his words to nearly 200 million followers could incite violence against Biden and Harris. Musk then deleted the post, but the Secret Service tasked with protecting current and former presidents, vice presidents, and other notable officials took notice. The Secret Service, quote, is aware of social media posts by Elon Musk, and as a matter of practice, we do not comment on matters involving protective intelligence. We can say, however, that the Secret Service investigates all threats related to our protectees. I think they're saying that, I don't know if they're insinuating that Elon Musk, was that a threat? I don't know. The spokesperson declined to specify whether the agency had reached out to Musk, who seemed to suggest in follow-up posts that he had been making a joke. Well, one lesson I've learned is that just because I say something to a group and they laugh doesn't mean it's going to be all that hilarious as a post on X. Turns out the jokes are way less funny if people don't know the context and the delivery is plain text. The Secret Service chief makes a remarkable admission. We need a paradigm shift. Yeah, you think here? And then Florida Governor Ron DeSantis assigns Trump assassination attempt case to a statewide prosecutor with a executive order. Will sign an executive order to assign the Office of Statewide Prosecutor in Florida to investigate the apparent assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump, he announced during a news-wide conference in West Palm Beach this morning. Now, in addition to this, take a listen here to, they have now in custody a Pakistani national with ties to Iran who they have here. Take a listen here to the charges they have here, and also here listen to General here on the threats that we are under here. Take a listen.
Questions of national security persisting after Sunday marked the second assassination attempt on former President Trump in 10 weeks. The 45th president facing domestic and international threats to his life. Just yesterday, a Pakistani national with alleged ties to Iran pled not guilty to plotting a murder for hire against U.S. politicians here on U.S. soil. Senator Chuck Grassley released FBI records showing Iranian-backed actors seeking to assassinate the former president and other American political figures in retaliation of the killings of Qasem Soleimani. Joining me now is Fox News senior strategic analyst and chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, General Jack Keane. General, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for weighing in on all of these important issues. How does this look on the world stage? What is your reaction to these Iranian-backed actors?
Well, I think just dealing with President Trump, certainly the fact that there's two legitimate attempts to assassinate the former president and a nation state has posed a credible threat against that president. I think the fact that an assailant was able to get within hundreds of meters of the president twice, once obviously successfully shooting him, and the second time credit the Secret Service with their surveillance and a quick response. But it begs the question, how could somebody even get that close to the president once again? What is the level of protection this president has? I mean, obviously, you have to adjust to the situation President Trump is facing. There has been three threats against him, the nation state and two others, and they have to adjust to that reality. And whatever it takes to protect this president has to be done. Certainly, you would expect the level of protection to be something similar to the serving president of the United States. And look, a golf course is a tough place to secure. They're all very large, obviously, in landscape. But the president has been playing golf since Eisenhower. Yeah. I suspect the Secret Service has figured out how to do this.
Yeah.
So this review is important to determine the level of protection. I think we know what's going to happen. The Secret Service is going to say, we don't have enough resources. Well, we got to fix this problem and fix it quickly to make certain we're providing the protection that's necessary.
Yeah, I think this is a really important point that you're making, General, because, you know, yesterday we heard from the Secret Service officials, and they said, well, you know, the whole golf course was not protected because he's not a sitting president. He's a former president. Well, you would think that that's not the way you set levels of protection. You set levels of protection based on the level of the threat. And clearly the threat is much more than former presidents elsewhere. The threat is real, and the threat has risen. So you would think that that's how the Secret Service wants to set the level of protection, based on the level of the threat. But they're saying, well, he wasn't a sitting president.
I agree. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, the level of protection should be increased if there's a credible threat to a president, a former president, even a presidential candidate. And clearly there is for former President Donald Trump, who is also the Republican candidate. And he's under a severe level of threat right now. He could be the next presidential candidate. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance. And something needs to be done. And you also have Kamala Harris as the Democratic candidate, and you have Biden there as the current president. So you have three different people there that need protection. And the Secret Service needs to get their act going. So let me know your thoughts here. I'll keep you up to date here. If you haven't yet, click the subscribe button down below and the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live. Also, thanks so much for hitting the like button and share this video with anybody that needs to hear this information. Click here to see my video about Russia preparing to use nukes and bring the US into the war. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next